Hello everybody, I'm back, and I'm here to provide more horrible takes for you. My last video did much better than I expected it to. I believe it's sitting at around 5,000 views at the making of this video, but in that one, I repeatedly mentioned multiple times the triple support issue. This quote-unquote meta has been taking over the Marvel Rivals community by storm since, well, like season 2 basically. And there has been so much public outrage about triple support since then, and I can see why. But the truth is, you've been lied to. Not just by me, but also by your favorite creators. Yes, all of them. They've all been lying to you. Your life is a lie. You need to wake up. Okay, in all seriousness though, triple support is not as big of an issue as it's made out to be by the community. Let me break this down for you. The real issue in Rivals, well, it's the community itself. It's breaking the game down from the inside out, and we don't even realize that yet. If you look for Marvel Rivals content on almost any platform, you won't just find balance complaints. You'll find various stories of players throwing matches or just horribly toxic VC sessions. Not to mention the rise of websites and organizations like intlist.org. People are now calling Rivals one of the most toxic gaming communities to have ever existed. I am inclined to agree with that. Hello everybody, my name is Lowercase, and today we are going to discuss the toxicity problem found in the Marvel Rivals community. Let's start off with the reasoning, the why, the anatomy of it all. Why is everyone so toxic? I mean, we've all had those games. The match hasn't even been 5 minutes long, and the team's already struggling to take first point, and suddenly, everybody in VC is just yelling at each other, yelling curses or slurs at each other. It doesn't matter. It's just nonsensical chaos in the VC. It's not just about blaming teammates, it's also about insults, and people acting like your worst enemies when they're supposed to be on your team. To understand the toxicity in a game like this, we have to stop looking at it as a people problem and start looking at it as a system problem. Competitive hero shooters are uniquely engineered to manufacture frustration. They are, by design, the most volatile social experiments in the gaming world. When you take away the bright colors, the skins, and all these flashy ults and abilities, you're left with a high-stake, high-interdependency environment where your personal success is tethered to the competence of strangers. That is a psychological pressure cooker. There's a trend that I like to call the struggle Olympics. Every person on a team operates under the delusion that they are the sole bearer of the burden. When the team loses, the brain immediately searches for a shortcut to process the failure. Admitting I could have played better is, well, much more expensive than simply shifting the blame onto someone else. It requires self-reflection, humility, and the acceptance that you aren't great at the game. It's much easier to just brush it off and say, it's not my fault, my teammates are feeding, or they're just simply garbage. This isn't the players just being jerks, it's a systematic failure in trying to create a collaborative culture. In Rivals, the game rewards individual performance metrics, kills, finals, and also healing, while the win is a collective effort. Competitive games like this, especially hero shooters, have been designed in a way that tracks personal achievement but demands collective success. This creates a state of cognitive dissonance. You feel like you're doing your job because your stats are high, but you're losing. And when that happens, the most natural outlet for that frustration is the person standing next to you, or maybe the person below you on the leaderboard. We're also dealing with the anonymity accountability gap. The internet provides a safe distance, a digital firewall that turns a fellow human into an avatar. We don't see the person on the other end of the screen. We just simply see a problem to be solved or a hurdle to be cleared. Because it's an online game, oftentimes players see their teammates as objects, and it becomes infinitely easier to just yell at them. The struggle is also exacerbated by the win-at-all-costs culture. When a game is positioned as competitive, when there's a rank ladder with all these shiny badges attached to it, every match feels like the finals of a tournament. This obsession with rank, the digital number that somehow equates to our self-worth, means that a loss isn't just a loss, it's a loss of status. It's a blow to the ego. And when someone's ego is under attack, they fight back, they lash out, they blame. The toxicity isn't a bug, it's actually an intended feature of the competitive landscape. But understanding that is only the first step to solving the problem. If we want to change the culture, we have to understand how this environment warps our behavior from the moment we hit that start button. Let's take a look at main character bias and how the very nature of hero design forces us to view our teammates not as partners, but as obstacles. We've now established that the system itself is broken, but there is a missing piece to this puzzle. Why are we so quick to turn on each other, especially in this game? The answer actually lies in a popular psychological concept, main character syndrome. In a game where you choose to play as an iconic superhuman character, you aren't just logging into a server, you're stepping into a power fantasy. The way that the characters in this game are designed are to make you feel superhuman, to make you feel godlike. The point of this game was basically just to be a power fantasy, and that was evident from Season 0. It is engineered to make you feel like the protagonist. Every ult, every character interaction, every voice line, every ability is designed to reinforce the idea that you are the center of this world. And when you carry that expectation into a team-based game, you hit a fundamental contradiction. MCS and Rivals manifest as a complete inability to see your teammates as anything other than supporting cast members. The team isn't a group of 6 individuals working together towards a common goal. It's a stage, and they are the only actor who matters. When that protagonist inevitably dies because they overextended, missed a shot, or simply just got outplayed, their mind short circuits. It's basically an ego trap. If you're the main character, then by definition, you cannot be the cause of your own failure. That would just ruin the story, right? If you're the protagonist, you're supposed to win. So when the defeat screen pops up, the brain has to find a narrative reason for this twist and plot. The villain of your story can't be your own poor positioning or lack of game sense. No. The villain has to be the person who didn't heal you in time, or teammate who didn't peel. This shifts the entire moral landscape of the match. You stop playing to win, and you start playing to prove the point that you are the quote-unquote good player, trapped in a lobby full of bad NPCs. You start typing in chat, not to coordinate, but to narrate your own perceived injustice. You are just performing for an audience that does not exist, screaming into the void to validate your own superiority. The worst part is that this behavior is contagious. When one person starts playing like they're the only main character, the others start to respond in kind. That's when you start to see throwers. They stop working together, start playing more recklessly to prove that they are actually the best. The team dynamic falls apart, and everybody is just trying to be their own hero, ignoring the objective and just blaming each other when everything collapses. When your self-worth is tied to your heroic performance, criticism, or maybe even constructive feedback feels like a direct attack on your identity. Telling someone in-game, hey, can you swap to a different character, isn't a strategy suggestion to them. They hear, you're a failure, get off the game, which is why the toxicity escalates so quickly. We aren't arguing about game mechanics. We're defending our own sense of importance. We're trapped in a feedback loop where we demand validation from our teammates, and when we don't get it, we simply lash out to protect what we have, ourselves. If the psychology of the player base is the fuel, then the design of the game itself is the spark. We've talked about MCS, and now we need to address the structural design flaws that make toxicity not just possible, but inevitable. Marvel Rivals is a game of high-speed, high-lethality combat. It is designed to be visceral, fast, chaotic, and loud. But in that chaos, the game fails to provide players with the feedback loop that they actually need to not get tilted. Look at the scoreboard. I mean, it's the primary source of quote-unquote truth for the average player. What does it track? KDA. And it does not track stuff like impact, which includes space created, ultimates block, teammate save. By creating a system that only rewards the most visible, high-impact actions like KOs, the developers have essentially told the player base, if you aren't getting kills, or if you're not ace at the top of the leaderboard, you're not contributing. This forces every player, regardless of their role, to simply just chase stats. When your Vanguard is incentivized to chase kills just for more elo, they stop tanking. When your Strat is incentivized to output raw healing numbers to look productive, they stop focusing on utility. This system is inherently built where players are actively competing against their own teammates for relevance. It's no wonder we are at each other's throats all the time. We're literally fighting for the same dopamine hit. Then there's the broken window effect that I touched on earlier. If you enter a match and the first thing you see is a teammate flaming someone else in the lobby, the environment's already been poisoned. Because the game lacks something like a reputation system, there are simply no stakes for being a jerk other than getting banned for 15 minutes. If toxicity had a cost, if being reported meant a tangible loss of progress, or if being a good teammate unlocked exclusive high value rewards somehow, you would see a shift. But right now, as it stands, toxicity is free. You can ruin a match for 5 other people, and the worst thing that happens is a potential temporary silence, or you simply cannot queue. In a competitive environment where losing is already painful, the lack of consequences for bad behavior feels like a slap in the face to players who are trying to play correctly. Consider the matchmaking volatility. When you're placed in a lobby where the skill gap is glaring, the game obviously feels unfair. A match that's a one-sided steamroll is the most toxic environment imaginable because it highlights the uselessness of your teammates in real time. The game fails to create fair encounters, so the players create their own version of fairness, which usually involves screaming at the person who's playing poorly. We are playing a game where the UI literally tells us that the only thing that matters is your stats, where the reward system ignores the quiet tactical plays that make the win possible, and when the matchmaking system simply just sets us up to fail. When you combine those frustrations, you aren't just creating a game, you're creating an engine for resentment. We aren't failing because we are bad people. We aren't failing because we're a bad community. We're failing because the game is asking us to do the impossible, to act like a coordinated unit while providing us with every incentive to not. In attempting to fight the game's own architecture, we are turning on each other instead of trying to work together as a group. We might really be Marvel rivals. So where do we go from here? We've identified the main problems with the toxicity in Rivals, and it's kind of painfully obvious that it's not just about bad players. It's about a game design that incentivizes individual glory over collective triumph, and a psychological pressure cooker that makes blame shifting the easiest path to emotional relief. If we want to change the culture, we have to stop looking for a punishment and start looking for a redesign. The path to reform doesn't lie in just adding more report buttons or harsher bans. That's reactive, and as we've discussed, it rarely changes behavior. True reform requires shifting the incentive architecture. First, the game needs to reward collaborative performance. Imagine if the scoreboard showed damage blocked, damage, and healing stats during the game, and also other things like objective time contested. If the game publicly recognized the quiet work of a tank holding a lane or a strategist providing a good buff, it would shift the dopamine reward from look at my kill count to look at how I helped the team win. We need to make altruism as flashy as a triple kill. Second, we need proactive behavioral nudging. Instead of just reacting to toxicity, we need to push the game and its players to use its UI to guide behavior. This means clearer role clarity tutorials, pre-match prompts that encourage friendly communication, and good teammate rewards that are actually meaningful, like unique skins, account badges, or even priority queue access for players who consistently receive positive commendations. If being a good teammate is a status symbol, players will compete to be the best teammate, instead of trying to be the best player. Finally, the most important thing, we have to take ownership of our actions. The community has to step up and take accountability. We are the ones who decide what's acceptable in VCs. We are the ones who decide what's acceptable in our community. If someone's being toxic, the most powerful tool isn't a report button. It's the choice to not engage. When we mute or ignore a toxic teammate, they lose their power. When we create our own positive lobbies, forming our own groups, joining community-led tournaments that are all positive, or just being the person who says nice try after a round, we starve the toxicity of the attention it craves. We don't need a total overhaul, but we do need a shift in philosophy. We need to stop treating our teammates as obstacles to our rank and start seeing them as the only reason we can win. Rivals at its heart is a game, well, created because of the Avengers. And if the Avengers had spent every fight arguing about who had the highest kill count, they never would have done anything. They probably would have died during the invasion of New York. They won because they functioned as a team. Maybe it's time we started acting like one too. Corny. Toxicity in gaming isn't inevitable. It's a failure of imagination. And if we, the community, can imagine a game where every player feels valued for their contribution, we can build a community where there's more things that matter than just getting a win. And that is a game worth playing, at least to me. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know what you guys think about all my takes in the comments. I know they might not have been great, but this is something that I haven't seen a lot of creators talk about, and I decided that I kind of want to take things in my own hand and step forward and discuss this one with you guys, because I think it's a very important problem that's prominent in not just Rivals, but a lot of other gaming communities. Anyways, leave a like for the algorithm and subscribe so you don't miss another video. I will start uploading gameplay soon, so be on the lookout for that. Also, follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/lowercase. I stream basically every day except Saturday at 8:45 p.m. Eastern timing. So follow me on there, join up the streams, and yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Peace.